It is Tuesday, July 15th, 7 p.m. at the Miami County Fairgrounds Community Building. If we could start with Councilman Wild's Indian prayer and then pledge allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for our annual meeting, or monthly meeting. We thank you, Lord, for the things you have before us. And we always do ask for your wisdom and your guidance. And we always pray for those in Miami County that they would be prosperous and be good health. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next up on our agenda is approval of June 17th minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, please vote and we'll start on this one. Yeah.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is appropriations and transfers. First one is Mary Brown attorney fees for $1,148.75. This is a request that Mary Brown brought before the council last month to appropriate money for payment of her attorney fees. If approved, this will still have to go before the commissioners for approval as planned. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions? If not, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay.
Nay. Nay.
3. Okay. And Mark, what do we do with that if it's?
It fails. It didn't get it right.
Next is request for audience. Didn't have any requests for audience.
Point of order, please. Can we go back to the demolition of the Grissom Inn?
I'm sorry.
Can we go back to the demolition for the Grissom Inn?
Oh, I am so sorry. I can't go through that. The items for council action demolition Grissom Inn for $177,000. And I know Brad wanted to.
Yep, so we, the plan commission took bids. I believe we had, it was almost a dozen people respond to our request to demolish. There's two parts to this expense. The first one is an expense to actually take the structure down. There was asbestos found within the facility, so there's like 17,000 square feet of asbestos tile that needs to be removed. So the $177,000 is to both take care of the asbestos removal as well as the demolition that will haul off all the concrete and return it to grade. So this appropriation that's being asked for is to transfer this money from seeded into the unsafe building and demolition fund that the commissioners have so that we can get this wrapped up.
Could you break that down, please? I don't remember those figures being that high.
Yep.
It's like 34 for the asbestos remediation.
So in this appropriation, we're asking for $145,000 for the demolition and $32,000 for the asbestos. The actual expense will be paid based on the bids that were received and recommended by the planning commission.
So what was the lowest bid on the demolition, please?
I do not have that information in front of me, but $145,000 was the bid that we were going with at planning commission.
You didn't take the lowest bid then?
That was the lowest bid, I believe. That met the qualifications of the meeting.
Have you seen this building out there? Have you been out by, checked it out?
Sir, I'm asking a question because I was at the meeting with the bids.
I know, but I'm just asking.
Okay, and I'm asking the question, I'm not taking challenges or anything, I just want to
There's no
know
challenge here.
that the lowest
I
bid,
believe $145,000 was the lowest bid that met the qualifications for the RFP.
Is there any way we can find out information if that was the lowest or not?
So that was the one that was accepted by planning commission. There was a bond that was asked for. an insurance requirement. And so it was accepted based on those qualifications.
So could I ask for clarification on that? So you were going to give that person who had the lower bid till Friday. The meeting was the middle of the week, until Friday to submit the information. So that didn't happen.
So what I'm asking for is $177,000 to be able to move money so that we can make that happen.
No, you didn't answer my question.
I answered the question.
But we're not appropriating or transferring money today, right? This is just essentially discussion.
Yes.
And so if it wasn't, then at the actual notice that's being published for next month, it will have the final figure. So this isn't the appropriation.
This is a request to advertise.
Yes. So if the advertisement has to be different, we have time to actually have that, I don't know what that, I didn't add up what the next lowest bidder would be. But even I think there was an issue with that bid, it's submitting everything, and so we'd have to get all the compliance with them too.
What is gonna happen to the property after demolition? Who is going to, take?
So the county is going to take down that property and will seed it in grass, but it remains in the current ownership of which it is. A lien will then be placed on the property for all of these fees.
Okay,
Who owns that?
There is an LLC out of Florida that currently owns it.
Called Firma Investments. Oh,
Firma, F-I-R-M-A-S.
I'm sure they would love to have a buyer, if anybody would like to purchase that property.
You were given a ceiling. So if there's a lien on it, they have to pay the lien before they sell that property. Am I correct in that?
The buyer will have to pay it, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Great. Any other questions? If not, please vote. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. I'm sorry, Fred, about speaking over that. So I'll go back, request for audience, I did not have any. Next on the agenda is council discussions and committee reports. We'll start with Brad. I know you wanted to first do the wheel tax and fire territory discussions.
Yep, I passed out tonight something that, I know has been a topic of conversation is, wheel tax and excise tax within the county. If you'll remember, there was some discussion, with some latest funding that has gone through the State House around tying access to the community crossings grant to this. That did not pass. However, it has shined a bit of a spotlight there. So the current wheel tax, I provided you a copy of the ordinance, thanks to Annette for pulling that up for us. The wheel tax ordinance in Miami County was adopted in November of 2014. It is currently at $20. And so there's a copy of that ordinance there. There's $20 for cars. There's also a schedule there for buses, recreational vehicles, tractors, and all that kind of thing. The second document that I gave you was provided from our friends at Purdue. It shows what the minimum rate is. Miami County is currently at the minimum rate of $20. It also shows what the maximum rate would be. The maximum rate right now allowed by state statute is $80. And so it basically shows a breakdown of the funds that can come in to go to our road funds. So right now at the minimum rate, we're collecting about $246,046. If we went to the maximum rate, which is $80, it goes to $1.78 million. So and you'll see that there's a distribution based on the same distribution that's done for lit and see that there with all the municipalities, Prairie, Amboy, Bunker Hill, Converse, Denver, and Macy, all receiving a share of that. So one of the things that we kind of wanted to do, obviously since 2014, the wheel tax has stayed at $20. I would like to maybe have a discussion on maybe raising that, as obviously our cost of roads and inflation pressure is that, if we don't maintain that, we're gonna be struggling, generating enough income to cover our road repairs. So, while 80 seems a bit extreme and a big jump, would just like to open a council discussion on any thoughts or feelings about making an adjustment to the wheel tax. There is a deadline, September 1st, I believe, is, Annette, correct me if I'm wrong, is when Annette has to file this every single year. And then I should probably back up. Wheel tax is assessed by the Bureau of Motor Vehicles every year when you register a vehicle, within the county. So it's added on to your registration that you get whenever you renew your plates there. So
What's the budget of the highway department?
that's a tricky question. Annette, how would you answer that question? We pay them out of like 4 to 5 different accounts.
Just, I can forward you what we have for this year, so you can take a look at it.
See, of course, I don't release. Yeah, okay.
I can also, the ones that they have, because you can get them last year, but I'm gonna forward you all the highway. There's actually one of them. So you can take a look, and there are questions for that.
Awesome, thank you.
And also, even if we don't do anything this year, I think it's something to highlight moving forward that we are probably gonna have to keep an eye on. Our plan as well, the budget committee did get the preliminary report from Baker Tilly on the 5-year cap plan. To kind of answer your question, Thomas, they actually provide kind of a roadmap for roads and there's another fund, I forget what the other fund is, but, what the funding's gonna look like over the next 5 years based on the current cap tables from the state. So, we plan to have Baker Tilly here at the August meeting and give that proposal to the
And will tax is strictly for roads and.
Yes, the wheel tax and what's called the excise tax is strictly restricted to road funding only. This is not a general fund, account. All of it has to go towards roads.
So with that, with the increase, we would be able to.
We would be increasing funding into the road accounts. So,
Minimum rate is one.
yes,
That's a minimum.
I believe, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe $20 is the minimum that can be assessed with wheel tax or at the minimum. There is a bit of a scramble right now because some of the counties that don't have a wheel tax are now putting one in because of the proposed language that happened with the state house that basically said if you don't have a wheel tax, you're not going to qualify for community crossings moving forward. Again, that didn't pass, but because that was brought up as a discussion point, a lot of counties that don't have a wheel tax are now kind of scrambling to get one put in for 2026. And more than happy to maybe have this during budget hearings. My intent was to not rush anything through, but mainly bring it up for council discussion.
So this here says $5.
So that's on these available vehicles down here.
Oh,
Yeah. There's different classifications on vehicles that make it a little difficult. There's passenger vehicles and then there's, these trailers, buses, semis, RVs. So if you wanted to, basically, the heavier the vehicle, you could charge a different rate than a lighter vehicle, motorcycles, passenger vehicles, and trailers.
so. Sorry.
You can.
If you're one.
Yeah, so this chart that I provided here for the ordinance, we actually, looks like light trailers are only $10. Buses are 40, recreational vehicles are 20, so, there is a structure if you wanted to charge more for heavier vehicles, then you can do that.
But it's a commercial vehicle.
I'm sorry,
With your commercial vehicles, like
$20 for a bus or a heavy.
Yeah, black.
Heavy trailers.
Gravel trucks and all that.
So really no action, I'm not gonna ask for any action tonight, but mainly a discussion that we can get some more information on and think about as we especially move into budget hearings there.
Thanks, Brad. Next, fire territory.
Yeah, I'll move right into fire territory. There has been, a discussion with some of our, southern townships, especially with all the increased economic development activity in Pipe Creek. There's been a discussion around, fire protection and how the townships can continue to provide that with a lot of commercial structures going in. I've been having some conversations with Pipe Creek and some of the township trustees. There's been some discussion of looking at a study to look at a fire territory or a fire district in that part of the county. And so, I'm meeting with some of them next week to kind of go over that. I have gotten a proposal from our friends at Baker Tilly to look at if that's even possible and about what are the options when they're looking at how are they gonna fund fire protection, especially within Pipe Creek Township. So, there's really no, council discussion or action. There is gonna be maybe a cost of running that study, but the county council has no, authority to actually enact any of that. So if there was a decision to move forward with something like that, then that would be a decision that the township trustees and the township board would have to enact. But this is kind of an attempt to help them run some feasibility studies to see how they could continue to buy the equipment needed to service some of those townships. So, again, nothing there, but as we talk through that, could come and maybe look at how we can help them fund that study at the August meeting.
So this means also that the fire department has no ability to extinguish a fire, say at that airplane facility.
Yeah.
They have no way to be stopped in the building, put a fire out on top of the building.
Yeah, so I think being funded through the township system right now has some challenges with them being able to have the equipment needed to serve that area. So, that's why they're looking at some of these options. Right now, Peru Township has a territory, is that correct? The words mean a lot here. So they already have a territory, that's all Peru Township. So this would not change anything with the fire coverage. It's just mainly how are they gonna fund that moving forward? How are they gonna afford the equipment needed to mainly service Chris and the growth that we've had in Pipe Creek Township.
Thanks, Brad.
Yep, happy to take any questions after or anything you think that's covered.
Next, you mentioned about tax abatements review. We reviewed those on June 26th and all were approved. So, that in our minutes for that. Next on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to speak?
What was the tax date? What shell building? So that they can put up a building to lease out to another manufacturer or anything like that. Which is also bigger than what our current fire can handle to put out of jurisprudence.
That's what they're eating at.
But they do, so.
Well, yeah. They have a contract with this. Sorry, they need to upgrade it.
Any other public comment?
Sandy, could I say one? Back to the oil tax, I just had a thought, I know they're not taking any action, but it seems like, first I'd like to know if the county has a designated fund for roof repairs. And is it, so to make that jump from $20 to $80 seems like, a little bit threatening maybe to the, residents. So I'm just wondering, if you stagger it maybe, instead of making that big leap.
We weren't talking about taking it to 80, we were just saying that.
Oh, yeah, that's That's a maximum, right?
No, it's not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're
We're
looking
not
for.
gonna like take all smacks. I got you. We've got some leeway in living across the road. But do you have a fund designated for road repairs?
There are four funds right
Yes.
now that we pay for road repairs out of, and the state is very strict on what we can pay and what we can't pay out of those. Yes, there's a lot of money that, a big chunk of the budget goes to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Anyone else?
So you say your tax abatements reviewed more than just the Keller building? You reviewed, did you review all the tax abatements of the county?
Yes,
And did you say they were all renewed,
they're all approved.
approved, including the Roxy Theater renewal?
That's a city, that's.
Oh, that was city, okay. Okay. Another comment I would like to ask is, I couldn't find where the meeting or the agenda or anything was posted for tonight's meeting. Could I ask the auditor if it was posted? I looked
Posted
on
Friday,
Courthouse Facebook. I also looked on Miami County Island
it was on
Government.
the Facebook and it was posted on all the doors on Friday.
On Facebook, on Miami County Courthouse?
The courthouse was the auditor page, just the auditor page. But they were posted on the doors.
On all the doors on Friday?
Originally, yes.
Didn't see that. Yeah. It'd be nice if we could have it posted on the county government website. It shouldn't be that difficult, and all other meetings, agendas, and minutes are posted there. It's just an easy place to go look.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. Yes.
Your tax abatements. Now, I know you give a tax abatements, but your tax abatements shouldn't be high because it doesn't help the county and the residents. It only helps the Miami County economic development. You need to help the taxpayers because they're getting burdened with taxes. And if you want to raise the wheel tax, and the wheel tax, as far as for county maintenance, I know you get money from the state. And Wabash County didn't even have a wheel tax. And they done fine on roads. So I don't know if we're doing the right thing, or maybe we don't have enough residents. I know we're getting more residents in Miami County, but yet as far as the tax abatements, you keep renewing the same tax abatements all the time, and people say, well, that's money we never received, we're not gonna miss it. Yes, you are, down the road. We're not getting the money back. You're not getting that tax money back. Now, somebody needs to check into that and just see how much it's helping. I know it. But at least I got my say-so in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have to say. What's that?
I wrote notes on your concern.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
EMA update.
Okay.
So EMA got together on the 9th. Just real quick, they're charging insurance, when they go to a scene to get reimbursed for the supplies they use. So for the last 2 incidents, they got $6,000 back. And and correct me if I'm wrong on that, Mark or Sheriff, it's the crew fire department goes and helps, they'll get a cut from that back, so money will go to the fire department. From the April meeting, they discussed, Herb and Jody discussed the 3 sirens down, the one for Bunker Hill and Converse, crew in Bunker Hill got fixed. There was a software issue, the one in Converse, is that one still down?
It's still there.
But the company that they got that on the frequency issue in Bunker Hill is, gonna go out to Converse, so that should be soon. And then the CETA is going to pay for the one at Eagles Point, it's gonna go by Fortress and Mustang on base.
Okay, that's the new one.
That's the new one, that's gonna cover the new industrial area plus Eagles Point. And then, they are gonna be coming to ask for about $500. He's puts, ice in coolers, so that's about $300 a month in ice. So they're gonna be asking for an ice machine and filters for their building. So he doesn't have to. Makes sense. So these are coming from that. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, I do have another question. I just recently was out on Grissom, Reserve Base. And I just was driving around, I looked at the Grissom Inn just out of curiosity. And I was appalled by the condition of some of those lots out there that apparently Makita is in charge of maintaining, is that correct? Whose responsibility? There's weeds 6 feet, 7 feet tall.
At your Smeralplex area.
Huh?
At your Smeralplex area
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. I mean, it's
I agree,
horrible.
it's overgrown in a lot of places.
Nobody's mowed it.
And I'm actually curious who's responsible for.
Our product was Makita, for Makita owned properties.
I don't know for sure, but I'd like to know.
I mean, the guy at the golf course mows up to there, and he keeps his mowers under the, the shelter.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything, I mean, the people who own the properties like Stagecoach RV, well, theirs was all mowed up nice. Of course, as a business, they purchased that building, I believe, and they maintain it. But there's some properties that I believe are owned by Makita, and they are not
You
maintained.
must have Lancer and all that area that are just, it looks like.
It's just unbelievable. The reason I went out there is because my class is going to have a class reunion, and one of the things, the kids coming back, whose parents used to be stationed at Grissom, was from the Air Force Base back then, want to take a tour of Grissom, and I'm like, I would be embarrassed to show them how bad it looks.
I will find out. And it's just the properties, it's not building in a property, it's just.
There's a lot of
out
lots that are just completely
Lots.
overgrown out there.
there. It's mostly the mowing, but some of the
Yes.
buildings are disgusting too. Junk sitting around outside, and, I mean, it's just not like the good old days that I remember when I used to spend a lot of time on Grissom.
When they built those two buildings out there, just north of those two buildings, you got bushes that's probably 5 foot tall. I mean, they just didn't grow overnight. It's not taken care of. Now, you talk about this building needs to be torn down. Well, gosh, somebody's responsible for all that brush. I got classified forest, and I have to keep it up, and it's inspected every 7 years now. That's not even inspected evidently.
I will get these questions answered.
Could you bring the answers to the next meeting, please?
I'm sorry.
Could you bring the answers to the next meeting?
Sure. I will, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
I had a motion to adjourn.
Was there a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Thank you.